What is up, everybody? I hope all is well. And of course, I am doing today the draft grade of my beautiful Houston Texans. I am doing all 32 teams, and I'm taking my time with it. I know everybody just threw out their draft grades right away because the draft is over. I'm definitely taking my time with this stuff because, for the simple fact, I got to marinate with all these picks. Plus, I got a full time job. So, it is what it is. But, anyways, this is Chris with That Square Sports Podcast. Let's go ahead and dive in. First things first, obviously, I'm going to go through every single pick. And then, of course, I'm going to tell you what my draft grade is versus their draft grade, what I think the team's needs were before the draft. And if they hit that, if they did it, if they didn't do it, then okay, it is what it is. First things first, obviously, they gave them an A minus. I can tell you right now, I don't agree with this, but we'll dive into it, and I guess we'll see what they see. First things first, obviously, we did need a secondary weapon. Kamari Lassiter out of the University of Georgia. I am a fan of this pick. At first, I was not a fan of this pick, and here's the reason why. We needed defensive interior badly, and there was a couple of guys that was on the D line that was still on the board. Linebacker as well. Safety could have been nice as well, too. But I understand we need somebody opposite of Derek Stingley, even though we picked up Jeff Okudah, which kind of had me scratching my head a little bit with this pick. But because of what Nick Caserio's done, I kind of have to pretty much say to myself, all right, fam, I trust you. With that being said, we got another head scratcher here. Blake Fisher, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. And if you watch the Texans play, you know that they have a history of having a bad offensive line with injuries. That shit just happens. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. It just happens. So that's one thing that I was kind of skeptical on but I will say this, as the time went on and I looked at this and I looked at some tape, he's not going to be bad. And you could put Titus Howard back in at guard if you really wanted to. But we've invested so much offensive line draft picks in this past 3 years that with Patterson, Juice, Kenyon Green, guys like that we've invested in so much. Charlie Heck, I really think that the Blake Fisher pick was kind of like, is this a project player? Because I really think we could have got him in the fourth or fifth round, to be honest with you. That's just me. But that's nor here nor there. Kalen Bullock is a steal out of USC. I do like this pick. He is a safety. He's going to help Peachtree out on the opposite side and Jimmy Ward if he decides to stay or not. This is something that I do like right here. I do like this pick. Caden Stouffer out of Ohio State. I think that we already have a very, very big tight end room. We got Quintero, and we've got Jordan, and we've got Schultz. We've got a lot of tight ends. Adding another tight end. I feel like we've drafted a tight end literally every single draft since 2020. I really don't know. I know this is CJ Stroud's favorite target, so we'll expect a lot of volume to go his way. So hopefully that kind of carries over into the NFL. So I can't really just say that that's a great pick, but it is a value pick. I understand that. Jamal Hill out of Oregon. I will say this. The next three picks, I was like, what the hell? But then I had to go watch the picks and I had to go look at their actual tape. And then I wasn't in love with them, but I was like, I'll expect, I guess, D'Amico to do something with them. Obviously, we lost, Perriman and we lost Blake Cashmere in the offseason. So getting more linebackers is something that we kind of really needed. And like I said, prior to pick 42, Edgerrin Cooper was on the board. Peyton Wilson was on the board. Cedric Gray was on the board. And we chose Jamal Hill at pick 188 at linebacker. Yeah. Louisville running back, Juwan Jordan. I have to learn to love this pick because we do have Damian Pierce and we also have Joe Mixon. So, I think this is more of a depth pick. Of course, we got Hunter and we've got also, Will Anderson. So Solomon Byrd is probably just more of a depth pick as well. Marcus Harris, of course, he has very famous moves at the defensive tackle position. So that is a pick that we had. I think that we're going to try to land a gold mine with that. And Ladarius Henderson out of the University of Michigan. Part of that great offensive line, I will say that is a really good pick. It's crazy enough, I hate to say this, I feel like you could never have too many offensive guards and centers, but I feel like you can have too many tackles. I don't know why I feel that way. I think that in the league, you need to have a special skill person playing tackle. Not everybody is suit to play tackle just because they have the arms and the legs. I mean, the arms and the height to do it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I just do believe that you need to be very athletic. All right. So obviously, you guys can tell that I don't agree with the A by my whole rant on this, but we'll dive into this. Okay. So for me as a Texans fan, I watch these guys every Sunday. I'm gonna tell you right now, the biggest need was corner. That was the biggest need. The second biggest need was we had to stop the run. We needed defensive line. We needed interior defensive line, in fact. That was the second biggest need. The third biggest need is the fact that, yes, we do have Henry Toto. We do have Christian Harris. But I would have loved to had another linebacker on the opposite side of, Henry Toto and Christian Harris. That would have been lovely. So I'm already telling you right now, we needed linebacker, we needed corner, we needed defensive tackle, and then I'm going to add some icing on the cake here. I really think that we needed running back, not so much as in like, a deep dive as like a impact running back, more just like, a running back that could just be good for rotation. So I do agree with that. And I was going to say receiver, but we ended up getting Diggs. So I kind of backed out of the receiver debate. But here's where I'm saying it. Obviously, number one, we took care of Kamari Lassiter. So that obviously is fine. So that was defensive back. And we took care of safety with Kellen Bullock. So secondary, I'm not worried about. We did what we needed to do there. Defensive line, there was so many defensive tackles. Gabe Hall. You had Gabe Hall. You had Gabriel Murphy. You had Gabe Murphy. You had my boy out of God, I can't think of the name of the school. Jackson Hunt. You had him straight up. It's crazy to me how the defensive line, Dwayne Carter, also another one, just the defensive line players that we had that was at our disposal right away. Now, also at linebacker, of course, you had Peyton Wilson, Cedric Gray, Edrin Cooper, and we get Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill better be a fucking stud. He better be a freaking stud. Because, man, I'm telling you right now, I was so jacked. I was so mad that we did not get what we needed to get done in this draft. But with that being said, I go back to what I was saying. Clearly, we didn't get the best linebacker, but we did get a linebacker, we did get a running back, and we did get a corner. I am glad, and we did get defensive line too as well. I know we made some acquisitions in the offseason. A lot of guys we paid, we took care of, we made some moves. But for us to kind of drop back, and pretty much now the Cleveland trade is done. That is officially done. So, we'll find out who the winner is between us and Cleveland when it comes to the trade. I know a lot of people are going to say we are, but I like to see it play out for the next 2 more years, and then we'll be able to say, hey, blah, blah, blah. So, I want to see that more. But as of right now, I have to give them a solid B- for this draft. I know that they gave them an A, but for me, what was on the board, who was there, what was around, I just think that we could have done so many more things in this draft. I don't think that we needed an offensive tackle at pick 59. I don't think that we needed Caden Stouffer at pick 123. I think that we should have went linebacker. If we were going to go defensive back, I think we should have went linebacker and then defensive back, because I still think there was a lot of great corners on the board still there. I know it was Cooper DeJean, he went, and then I'm pretty sure, man, the way the draft was falling, a lot of these teams needed more of defensive players, and they needed more, offensive line and receivers. They didn't need defensive players like that. I think linebacker-wise, we could have at least got Cedric Gray. He did fall, but we didn't. We ended up getting, Caden Stouffer. But there's a bright spot to this. Kalen Bullock, obviously a ball hawk. Marcus Harris, they say he's a great run stopper as well. Ladarius Henderson, oh man, moves mountains. Kamari Lassiter, I do like that pick as well. I'm not gonna lie. So Texans fans, y'all bear with me on this, man. Y'all know how it is. If you follow me throughout the season, you know how I feel about certain stuff when it comes to this. I have to trust Caserio, but I know how Caserio moves. With that being said, guys, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, and of course, don't be afraid to tell me what you if you think negative or positive. or anything. Peace.